MrBeast is in some drama, Nationers. Here's the thing. MrBeast is in some drama, but I don't think it's for good reason. Pokimane, she came out roughly about last week talking about how one of these executives was apparently in a facade relationship with her. Nationers, it's very interesting to be back. It's not just very interesting. I'm very grateful to be back here for another episode of The Realest Podcast, episode 56, banner right behind me. We have a little bit of a different look for the video today, but I feel like, we'll see how it works. I feel like it kind of just fits. I feel like it kind of just fits what I would like. And with that, Nationers, if you guys know, I'm going to try not to say very interesting this entire podcast, but guaranteed, I feel like there's going to be like an over-under bet on how many times that I say it throughout the podcast. So, all in all, Nationers, welcome back to another episode of The Realest Podcast. Hopefully you guys are strapped in for a wild ride, because today, Nationers, I went into this thinking that I would have no topics to talk about, but then I realized I have a lot more than I could ever imagine. So, very excited. I'm already kind of scratching the line there. But, Nationers, feel free to leave a like on YouTube. If you guys are listening, thank you guys. Feel free to leave a review. And most importantly, Nationers, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And let's jump right into it. A little bit of an announcement going on with today's episode. I have a single coming out on March 16th. Yes, like a single meaning like a song. So I have a single coming out on March 16th this week. Thursday. Yes, Thursday. Of course it's Thursday. I know it's Thursday. But I was going to say, like, it's coming out this week, and I didn't know where to go from there. But yes, Thursday, March 16th, I am dropping my single for my album called Nationers. I hate it when I say it like that, because then I feel like the album's called Nationers, but then it's not called Nation. The album is not called Nationers. The single is called Nationers. It's just very kind of confusing, because you guys are the Nationers, and how I frame that sentence, it makes it seem like the album is called Nationers, but it's not. The single is called Nationers. The album, I have an announcement shortly after the album, or the single comes out, so don't stress. Nationers. I feel like it's very confusing when I'm saying that. I should have thought about this a long time ago and being like, oh, that's kind of going to be kind of hard to promote when I call you guys the Nationers, but then the single is called Nationers, so you don't know which one I'm talking about. But all in all, Nationers, Nationers is coming out March 16th. There we go. I can at least lean into the joke, right? So all in all, Nationers, oh my God, this is going to get so annoying every time I say it. Let's finish that up. March 16th. Make sure to stream it. It's out everywhere on anywhere you guys listen to music. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys listen to it. It's a great song, and I'm very excited for Nationers. I feel like it's very confusing. Anywho, Nationers. Oh my God. Let's just jump right into some big news that's going on within like the creative sphere. I feel like this is what we talk about a lot when it comes down to this podcast. Obviously, the Realest Podcast, I want to talk about some funny, goofy stuff that happened in the world, but I also feel like it's somewhat appropriate to talk about stuff that's happening on YouTube and in streaming and Twitch and social media and different things like that. Because it's what I do. This is like the field that I'm kind of in. Obviously, I like to talk about my Spartan racing and my athletics and anything that I'm doing work-wise. But MrBeast, MrBeast is in some drama, Nationers. and here's the thing. MrBeast is in some drama, but I don't think it's for good reason. I know that might be a little I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like, hey, I think what he's doing is obviously great, and there might be a few people out there being like, no, I can't believe he's doing this. Like at the same part, how would I say it? It's one of those things, and I'm going to kind of explain the entire thing. That you just explain the dramas that is going on. So MrBeast is kind of in a little bit of hot water right now, simply because of a tweet, which never goes well. Anything on Twitter could be just a cesspool of fire. But most importantly, MrBeast put out a tweet talking about his Feastables brand, where he's seen some of the end caps and seen some of like the products be kind of just like ransacked, or they just haven't looked like presentable, right? They just haven't looked presentable. And all in all, he put out a tweet talking about like, hey, if you see like the Feastables bar or Feastables brand kind of like this, like if you could fix it, thank you. It would just mean like the world to me and make me a very happy person. That's kind of like what he said. And obviously for the majority of people like on Twitter, it's not entirely like 13-year-olds who will probably do it. It's like people that are like angry at the world for every downfall that they've had. Like, let's say like I stub my toe on a table, right? Like, it's a pretty common thing. You'll stub your toe on a table at least 10 times in your life, right? So by the age of 20, you've at least done it like 2, almost 3 times, right? So it's those types of people that will blame everything for that toe stubbing. Like, I can't believe like I'm withdrawn on my bank account. I can't believe like that's the reason I stubbed my toe, right? It's literally Jake Paul saying that he had a wet dream and that's why he lost to Tommy Fury. If you guys have seen the clip. But all in all, it's those types of people that are like mad at like the system in place. It's just like the man put out a tweet. Okay, here's my take on it, right? And here's how like I feel like people could take it, but I'm gonna take a stand, and I feel and I know that what he says is completely okay. It's not that like the action is out of line or what he said is just like completely malicious. It's not like he's like attacking these companies and these workers, right? It's like, I think people are bringing up, again, another big issue in like, oh, well, that's just like free labor for people. It takes like 3 seconds to like fix it. Like, I've done this plenty of times throughout like the store. Like, if I see like, oh, like a few extra cans or like at the back of like the soup, like my favorite soup, clam chowder, right? Like, if I just see some of the cans are kind of like in the back, I'll just bring them forward. I want people to buy freaking clam chowder. It's something that I enjoy. I want people to enjoy it and be like, oh, wow, it's kind of a lot. Or like, let's say like Prime. Like, I'll see Prime and it's just like, what is it? The rolly thing won't work. I'll just bring it forward. I'll bring out the line. I fill it out. Prime is a company that I like. Feastables is probably a company that a lot of people like. It's not my favorite. I'd still do it. Obviously, MrBeast has done a lot of amazing things, like anything, and it's more difficult. Like if somebody that were kind of like a dick or just like a very horrible person, if they were like to say this and like I know that their brand was just like, oh, it's just their money, I probably wouldn't agree with it. I probably wouldn't do it. But for something that I enjoy and know that revenue or just even that sale can mean impact for somebody else across the world, with another drama that we're talking about with MrBeast Philanthropy, like, I'll do it. I will literally do it. It takes like 2 seconds just to like straighten it up, put it forward, and then go on. And the thing is like it's kind of heightened the amount of people actually like ransacking. And what I mean by ransacking is like, let's say I have, oh, you can't even see it. Let's say I have like things just kind of orderly. It's just like right there, but they're just like pushed back, like behind like the edge of the shelf, or, you know, like some of the bars are outside of the box. And so like people are like being like, okay, well, I know that this is going to be bad for the brand, so they'll do it. It's just like when people watch a video and they don't watch it or like it, they'll just like click off immediately, like over and over and over again, because then it'll lower the like AVD, which obviously for YouTube they really like when that's good. So that's like a way that people do that, or they'll dislike a video so it doesn't get promoted, or just like anything to like maliciously attack anything. And so they realized that like, oh, okay, well, if he doesn't want that, I'm going to do exactly that. But then there's just kind people out in the world that are going to just like fix it, and they're going to continue fix it every time that they go to like Walmart, which Feastables is in Walmart. So it's like, okay, let's say in any major city, which most likely Feastables is in, there's probably saying that MrBeast is 137 million subscribers. That's at little less than half of America in itself. So that, well, I'll just say 1/3. I know it's not exact, but I'll say 1/3 of America in subscriber wise. mind you, that's not all in America. So I'll say like 60 million people are in America, roughly. That's definitely too high. But even then, most likely there's at least like, 2,000 to way more than that, actually. Like 20,000 subscribers and fans that actually like his content in each of a major metropolitan. So it's like no matter what, if people are ruining it, people will fix it. And it's like, okay, whatever, right? I could see the line of being like, oh, it's free labor, but that's not the issue at hand. That's another issue in another regards. That's like Nike making shoes over in Eastern Asian countries for cheap labor. And mind you, I guess this is free labor, but it's just a kind act to do. Like, that's the thing. It is just a simple, kind thing to do. And like, that's just like holding the door for someone. You don't have to, but it's just like a kind and courteous thing. Like, if you enjoy this brand, if you enjoy this restaurant, you want to make sure that things look tidy and neat, right? Like, it's not too hard. It's just like maybe clean up after yourselves. It's like, even if it's not a mess you made, like, it's still kind enough to clean it up, right? And I think a lot of people looked at it as like a capitalistic thing, and a lot of people will call him like a capitalistic pig for what he's doing. But even then, regardless of if this is like, oh my God, this is I don't know the influence of like how it's presented will, like the correlation between that and like how much more they'll earn because of this. Even then, hopefully a lot of that money will even go back into the amazing projects that he's doing, just like giving South African kids 20,000 pairs of shoes and still getting hate for it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how MrBeast can give 20,000 pairs of shoes to people in need and still get hate for it. Like, I literally don't understand it. Like, I think somebody said this pretty well, right? So regardless of if somebody like exploits, let's say like a homeless person and uses them for content, right? Like, I've made content around the homeless. This is something that I'm very passionate about, especially here in Spokane. We have something going on that's not really great. Our mayor, our city, one of our city officials, I don't know her proper title, Nadine Woodward. She used to be on the news. She's our mayor, right? She's always kind of taking a stance against homelessness and being like, oh, just suck it up, which really sucks, saying that like she's an amazing woman. And it just really sucks because it's like, well, why don't you fix your issue? Woman, you're the one that can help resolve the issue, right? You're the potion. You can at least be a catalyst towards something, right? You don't have to be like, oh, we need to take your tent. We need to take your stuff and we need to make the city look good. Like, who the fuck cares? Who cares? Okay? Just at least help them. At least like do something for them instead of being like, oh, suck it up, right? It's like, oh, I tore my ACL. Can you like help me like get up the stairs? No, you could do it. Like, that's basically what she's saying, right? And so, all in all, MrBeast giving 20,000 pairs of shoes. Oh, sorry, I meant to be on the homeless rant. Okay, so like, even then, I believe it was Mike Malak on the Impulsive podcast where he said, no matter what, even if somebody like uses any downside of, society as exploitation and being like, oh, we'll take this homeless person, we'll kind of help them, with maybe like a haircut, maybe get them food, new clothes, stuff that they would need, whether that be toiletries, whether that be like, just to like a rinse, just something, even just to make their day a little bit better. Regardless of if that's more of the exploitation side of things, it is still a kind act to do regardless, whether their intentions are good or not. And so, all in all, it's like you still change that one person's life. So, that's like the bad side. That's the bad spectrum of things. But let's take the good side of things, in my opinion. People in South Africa, like, the poverty line is pretty... There's a lot of people impoverished. I don't know exactly what the poverty line is down there. But I have a friend, Casey, who I've actually had on the podcast. I believe he's... where's he at? You can't see him, but he's... Oh, Jesus. Sorry, Rihanna. He's up there. I probably should put all the photos down here if I do continue with the style. But all in all, Casey, he's over down in Johannesburg, which is where this is actually taking place. And I've got to talk to him on his mission down there last year around my birthday. And he talks about a lot of like, he's like, they are very poor down here. Like there are people that are obviously rich and get to, live a seemingly better life because of their wealth. But then there are people, kids, young kids who are just like, who don't have, access to education at a, just like, oh, I get to take a bus to school, or, I get to walk to school, or I ride my bike, right? These are kids that have to walk across what they put in the video as, broken glass, barbed wire, tainted water. And so, mind you, South Africa has it slightly a little bit better than other kids in, even Western Africa, Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, where like even water is like not even a thing, right? And obviously Africa, as we know, is kind of like one of those things that, a minute passes in Africa, every 60 seconds, a minute passes in Africa. Like it kind of can become a joke, but it's also like, it is still a very serious thing. And obviously for anyone, regardless of where you're from, we obviously want to help. People will build wells. People will build villages. People will build just like basic needs. And this is something that I learned in leadership, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like the three things: water, food, shelter. That's like the three basic things. And for everyone in the world, we should at least, our goal be to meet that, regardless of anything else other than that. And it's our job for the people that are in different tiers of this pyramid to help those below us. That is the goal, because we all rise together. So all in all, MrBeast had given 20,000 shoes to kids in need, and he's still getting hate for it, because I don't exactly know the causation of it. I know more of the Feastable side of it, and I watched a few videos on kind of both of them, but I think a lot of videos touched a lot on the Feastable side. But even then, it's like, let's say the money from Feastables, because somebody cleared an end cap and they fixed it, that money now can be even used. I don't know exactly all the business side, but I'm pretty sure he's got it figured out to where even like some part of it, even if it's just like $1,000, that could pay for multiple, like even 20 plus shoes, like that. 20 kids could go without shoes just because somebody didn't fix an end cap, right? And somebody was mad about a tweet that he posted, right? And so all in all, like it really does suck that there are people out there that will like be like, oh, I can't believe you do that. I can't believe you do that. How dare you? How do you have any pride in yourself? I don't know how you sleep at night. It's like the man put out a tweet just to be like, hey, if you could fix it, that'd be awesome, right? It's just like, if you could leave a like on this video, that'd be awesome, right? That literally just, like, you don't have to like it. You don't have to, right? It's like, people don't have to fix these things, right? It's not their job. But if you are just willing to go out of your way, there's something called volunteering. Like people that will go without pay to go over to different countries and volunteer just to even make somebody's day even better, right? And at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Like, you do it, you don't do it for the money side of things. You do it because you want to be kind in the world and you want to have an impact. And for anyone out there who may be kind of on the lines of like, I either in the middle being like, I kind of get both sides and it's just conflicting. I hope you guys can at least understand that like there is a lot of good in this world and you don't necessarily need to follow like all the bad in the world. Like, yeah, there's a lot of bad people in this world, but just like any dog that wants food, if you ignore it, they won't bug you anymore, right? Because a lot of it does become attention to some point, and obviously everyone wants to see other people miserable because they're miserable. And I hope that at least with even just like your action, just like hold somebody's, hold the door for somebody. Just say like, thank you. Just have like, just excuse yourself if you kind of like bump into each other, like just little things. Just have a little bit of courtesy as a person, It doesn't have to be like the biggest thing. You don't have to go raise money to go, go do something. Like it can literally be the easiest thing, right? And so all in all, the MrBeast drama is kind of complicated, but it's a very easy thing to just like understand. And I think what he's doing with MrBeast Philanthropy is incredible. It is super inspiring to see. It always makes me want to just like get out there and do something better in the world. And for anyone that might feel like they're like, oh, they're lazy, and I'm like, I wish I could do something. Like it literally just starts with one action, right? And it doesn't have to be in a place where you like are in charge. It literally just takes one action. Like for me, when I was growing up, like throughout high school and like even through middle school and elementary school, like, I was known as like the fast kid. I was like the fastest kid in my grade. I'd get the highest score on the pacer test, I would be kind of like a leader, but it wasn't because I wanted to be a leader. It's because people kind of put me on that pedestal, and they realized that like, hey, like you could help guide us. And so it's like sometimes I just had to buckle up and just do it, And so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, hey, like sometimes you just need somebody to like boost you up, and it's not always like it's not always your choice, right? It's sometimes not always your choice, but sometimes you have to step up, just like a backup quarterback in any sport, or I guess football in this case, but any backup, somebody on the bench for an NBA game, they might not get a lot of play time, but let's say somebody gets hurt and you have to fill that position, you got to step up, and it's your time to shine sometimes. And I hope that you guys could realize that through it, sometimes your good doings and your high moments in life aren't because of what you've done. It's because of those people that are around you that have built you up. And it's one of those things where growing up, like people would be like, oh, like, could you answer the phone? Or like, can you take the lead? And that's just kind of how I've started. And now for me, somebody in the lead, it was my time to now boost other people and be like, hey, you can do this. You can like, hey, like I want to make this change. Like, are we able to do this? Like, are you able to like step up and into this role, And for me, leadership is super big, and just taking a charge and taking a lead and taking a stand for what's good in the world. That is leadership. And it doesn't matter whether or not you're like the head cheerleader or the quarterback. Like you could still take a lead as somebody on the bench, like even just firing up your team, giving them the tools that they need to be successful, as long as they're giving you the tools to be successful for any position that you may be in. It might be the bench, and how can you get better as an athlete to then start a game? And I remember when I was, I'll never forget this moment. I'll literally never forget this. This will probably bring me to tears. But I remember senior year, I was playing football my senior year. Obviously, I already said that. I decided to play football for the first year, and like tackling was very difficult. I was not used to it. I was probably one of I was the lightest guy on the team. And obviously, it's not really a disadvantage because I knew I was fast. I could catch. I was pretty quick. So regardless of my size, I obviously was still kind of like not at the size that I should be, but regardless, I will never forget it. It was against Deer Park, and my basic goal was to run a streak, and I'm pretty sure I actually ran the wrong route. I ran a streak, and it was not the route, but my Casey Nowak, he saw me open, and he tossed it, and I caught the ball, and I ran for like 63 yards in total. That was like the yardage, and I'll never forget it. Zach Holt, one of my good childhood friends. He came up like lineman. He was the first one, a lineman, the biggest guy on the team, a lineman, Zach Holt, one of my good childhood friends. He had ran all the way over and just like congratulated me and like bumped my head. And like, it just gave me the confidence, for somebody who is, not at the biggest of sizes for my height. Mind you, there was somebody at the exact same weight, but he was also like 4 inches shorter than me and like super tiny. And he played linebacker. And so all in all, like that moment gave me the confidence to be like, okay, like, yeah, let's rock. Like, let's roll. Like, all those practices of like catching balls and like, but now you're putting it into a game, and it's like, oh crap. And so like, even for you guys, like that's a moment for me where I'm like, I need confidence to do what I need to do and to be a successful receiver and help lead this team to, get scores and do my job. And I'll never forget that moment. It's on camera. And yeah, like that's one of those things. Like even for somebody who might be on the higher end of this pyramid and feel like their job is to lift everyone up and help people get to the next level of, their self-confidence. But even at the top, you still need people to help you. And no matter what, like the good, the evil, the bad, and everything in between, there are still good people in the world. And I hope that you guys can feel inspired through what my actions. That's my biggest goal, is to have an impact on this world and to change the world for the better. And for you guys, like, that's hopefully what I could do. There's going to be people that are, I'm kind of in between. I want to bring you guys up, but then there's also people higher than me that could help me bring up, and it rises everyone together. And so, yeah. Oh no, that was a very long rant, and I think it's good. I think it's great, and regardless of anything that goes on, whether what you see on Twitter or what you see on Instagram, it's like, find your morals and find where you want to be in life. And no matter if anyone agrees or disagrees, it's like sometimes you can learn to agree to disagree, and that's the beauty of everything. I always feel like a well-established relationship is a very well-oiled agree to disagree, and obviously taking a sacrifice for other people. That is huge, and especially in a relationship, family, friends, life, there's people in New York that I'll probably never meet in my life, but through even a series of reactions, like if you take a plane ride, talk to somebody, and, that impact now affects somebody who lives in Texas because you were on connecting flights, literally there's a chain of reactions. There's a degree of separation between everyone in this world, at least in theory. So it's like, hey, like, just be kind with what you say and be courteous with what you do. And, that's kind of it at the end of the day. I gotta reset the camera. So some few things that I do kind of want to continue with. I know I was a little long in my MrBeast drama, but I feel like it's important to explain. It was something that I felt very passionate about doing. But there is some other things that I feel very passionate. What did I just do? What did my camera? I don't know what I just heard. I just heard something like, I thought the shutter on my camera just like died. Sorry. Okay, so there's also some other things that I'm very passionate about talking about, and some of it kind of stems from Pokimane. Not Pokimane, Pokimane, god dang it, Pokimane, who you guys know is a well-established streamer on Twitch, one of the biggest female streamer in America, or at least in North America, that is. I know there's a lot of big streamers in Korea, South Korea, and obviously a lot of like VTubers, which I don't exactly know where they're at, but Pokimane, one of the biggest female streamers on Twitch, yet alone one of the biggest streamers. She came out roughly about last week, like literally like right after I posted the podcast, talking about how one of these executives in a big brand or company was apparently like in a facade relationship with her. I hate to laugh, but like here's the funny part about all this. Regardless of how cynical and evil that this is from this top executive, this is a big person, yet alone somebody who just came out recently. Grace, she plays a decently big role in Stranger Things. I don't watch the show, but I did hear a little bit of the drama and kind of like heinous stuff that some of these top producers have done, not only to her, but it seems like also other females in the industry. Yet alone, as you guys know, I don't like any award show that's related to like Hollywood. Like I really don't. I just don't. Like I think they're just stupid. I think they're really bad, especially for what they do with other people in certain areas. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm really not. I don't mind award shows. I think they're kind of cool and fun, but anything Hollywood related, I absolutely hate. And I know hate's a strong word, but I generally don't like them. So all in all, both stuff, top executives taking advantage of women, especially. So in regards to Grace, which I'll kind of put in brief, right? So Grace, a star, in Stranger Things. I don't know exactly what season it was, but I'll say season 4 because I know that's what she's in. So she was, a actress. She's been an actress for some time, and she talked about on her stream, like as she was streaming on Twitch, the top Hollywood executive or producer, somebody that she's worked with, has coerced her into either eliciting something, meaning like, hey, like let's do this, or has actually like taken advantage of her because she is a woman who is obviously young into her career, and obviously it comes with, obviously a lot of trauma, I could imagine, but the big thing is like Hollywood, and we've obviously seen a lot of Harvey Weinstein stuff. We've obviously seen Bill Cosby, and not necessarily like everything's Hollywood related, but Harvey Weinstein especially is. And so let's say, in theory, right, like for somebody who is still new to a lot of actress, very young into her career, right? Like if she says no to, let's say, these sexual acts, that she might just be blacklisted and nobody will pick her up because she said no to this one thing, right? Because a Hollywood blacklist, as much as it is a theory, it is still a very real thing. And so it obviously, no, I don't mean this as a very punny thing, but it sucks to suck, because it's like, if I say, it's literally catch-22. If she says no, her entire career might be gone, right? But if she says yes, and it kind of just is almost forced to go through with it, it's like, that's just very not okay. And so I hope that people, obviously, it sucks because money does bring power for a lot of these people in Hollywood who make a lot of these decisions. I hope that they do find, I hope that for Grace, that she does find justice within this heinous stuff, especially because I imagine she's not the only one. And for any young female actress, and especially in a big show like this, to be taken advantage of, it's not great. So that's kind of the brief of that. Pokimane, very similar thing, but maybe in a little different light. So a top executive or a brand, or from a brand or company, I don't exactly know if it's Twitch, but I know that a top executive from either or has faked a sexual relationship with her. Yes, it's very odd to say that. Mind you, like for somebody like Amaranth, who's also a Twitch streamer, there are fans who feel like they are in a relationship with her. Get some help, people, okay? Please get some help. So, all in all, Pokimane had came out on a stream talking about this, and, this is obviously coming off of, like, the deep fake porn that was on H-Rock's stream. And obviously he took the brunt of that, but all in all, the topic of it was highlighted around QT Cinderella, who's a massive streamer, Pokimane, Suida, Nina, people who are very well-respected streamers in their own right. And so, here's what I don't get about the Pokimane drama, okay? This person, this executive, would go to her stream, find any female, like somebody who would maybe have like a female, like, let's say, I'll just say like an Allison, right? Let's say Allison, Allison. I can't think of a last name right now. Allison, something that would be like Sarah, something that would be rather female-esque, right? But like Jordan, that could be a guy or girl, right? So let's say no, let's not even say, this is not a hypothetical. This person did this. This person would go over to Pokimane's stream, find what he would consider to be a female person, and would then like DM them, whisper them, however, get in contact with them, and would try to be like, hey, come over to my place. I'm in a very intimate relationship with Pokimane, and we're keeping it private. So this guy would basically fake a relationship with Pokimane, but then brag about it with other people who are females in her community to try and have a sexual relationship with them. I don't get what the end goal for this guy was. Like, regardless, let's say, like, we flip it. Like, let's say this guy is in a competitive, like, he's in a competitor's bank, right? Let's say, like, Chase Bank, right? And he's like, I have a very high credit score with Chase. I would now like to be like, hey, I'm going to go to Bank of America and be like, hi, I have a very high credit score with Chase. I guess credit score doesn't really rely on bank. It really relies with credit. But let's say, big representation. Well, no, that's a terrible example. I'm going to say this guy's a lawyer. This guy's a lawyer because he's going to need one. So let's say this guy is a very highly accredited lawyer with, oh my God, no, this has actually happened. Okay, So I don't know if you guys know about the 4 murders in Moscow, Idaho. The 4 U of I students, the University of Idaho students, have lost their lives because of a murder. So the woman defending, the lawyer defending Brian Koberger, who is the alleged suspect and highly alleged suspect of the murders, his defendant, his like lawyer, had also represented one of the victims, like one of the girls that died, like that got murdered by him. She was defended like years ago, like in 2018 or something, by his. Like, how backstabbing is that? So, regardless, like, that kind of has a goal. Like, she's doing her job, but it is kind of scummy. Because I'd at least maybe take a stand and be like, hey, I represented this lady. I don't feel comfortable doing that, right? Okay, regardless. I don't get what the end goal for this guy was. I literally don't get it. This guy apparently had a fake relationship with her to then try and get other community members, fans of Pokimane, to then like try and get with them. I just don't get what his end goal was. It's like Pokimane and this guy are apparently in an open relationship, it seemed like, because he was okay with like doing that. I just don't get it. Like, I can maybe get like, hey, I have a connection with her. If you do this, then like I'll get you to meet her. Like, it's just like, that would be, I guess, a more sensible, because it happens, right? It would be a more sensible way of, like, being like, oh, if you give me, like, these sexual favors, right, I will let you meet her. But since that never happened, but since you don't actually know her, like, they've exchanged some sort of communication, but have never met each other. This Pokimane has no idea what he looks like, has no idea really who he is. So it's horrible. It really is just horrible. Like, but I laugh at it because I'm like, I don't understand this I don't understand his end game. I don't understand it. I literally don't understand it. So all in all, that's kind of the Pokimane drama. It's funny, but it's bad. And I wish, especially during this month, regardless of any month of what it is, obviously it's International Women's Month, but regardless of what any month it is, whether if it happened in November or December or January or June, like, no matter when it happens, it's like, okay, can we at least like think about what we're doing? Obviously, women don't have it, the easiest all the time, whether that be just what they post or what they do. They get identified as objects. It's bad. It's really bad. And so can we at least like think about what we're doing? Like, this guy's probably done a lot of stuff in his bedroom and just wasted his entire life doing this. And I hope that this guy at least goes to jail first, or at least loses his job or something, right? I just wish there was more consequences in the world. I just wish there was. Like, as good as a person I feel like I am, I just wish that more people would face more consequences for their actions. I just wish. So, all in all, that's that. There is a funny story. I'm going to try and keep this one short. So Linus Tech Tips, who you guys may know for a lot of his tech tips, of course, he recently was on a live stream, his WAN. I don't exactly know what it stands for. I am pretty sure it's not pronounced WAN. It could be, and I'm just dumb. I don't exactly follow his content a whole lot. I did back in the day a little bit. But he came out with a live stream, and with live streaming, as you guys may know, you can't edit anything out. You can't. It's live. It's a live thing, and so he comes out with a live stream clip that is pretty infamous in itself, because I don't know. I'm just kind of all scatterbrained right now. I just kind of want to touch like all the things on my desk right now. So he comes out on a live stream talking about, hey, he's like, it's just so interesting, like, to see like even shows that have like casual gay humor. And it's pretty common. Like, gay humor's always kind of been like a pretty common thing. Like, I'm watching Modern Family. They have a gay couple. One of them who in real life is gay, and the other one who is portraying a gay man, but does it pretty well. And obviously, it's nice that they at least have a gay man in Jesse Tyler Ferguson who, is playing a gay man and obviously can, pull from reality when it comes down to a lot of stuff. And so all in all, gay humor has always kind of been a thing. Even as like a child, like, that like you'd always kind of call like things gay. Like it wasn't like necessarily like in a bad thing. I guess a lot of people got really sensitive to stuff. Like even saying like something's gay, like isn't talking bad about someone. It's talking about the thing, but it also stems from those actions. So I could see where people kind of get a little upset and offended about it. But all in all, like it's always about the intention to me. So let's say like, I'm not even going to say an example, but let's say, sorry, why am I saying let's say? So in the clip, he's talking about, like, oh, like, yeah, that was like a pretty common thing as he's watching shows. And he would also say like, oh, like, I can't believe they were dropping like hard R's. And obviously in today's society, I know Linus Tech Tips comes from Canada, and I don't exactly know if that's like a different term that they use there, but a hard R, at least in America, is like the N word, but ending it with an ER instead of an A. And so a little bit more, along the like, no. Like I'd rather send you to space if you say it, right? And so he essentially says like, oh, like, yeah, they had it in like shows like back in like 2003, like even American Dad. And we're like even I'm like, I don't even know how that flew by anyone. Like mind you, like the Knicks, right? The New York Knicks, they were called the hard R Bockers. I'm not going to say the word, of course, but they were called that back in the day, like early. And so like, obviously it is weird that like the Knicks still kind of kept their name. So, or maybe they weren't called that, but people would call them that because it was so closely related to it, or at least phonetically sounding. And so the hard R, obviously, we're all thinking like, dang, okay, like how did that fly on like even American Dad? Like Family Guy, like you're like the Cleveland Show, like mind you, long run, like even The Simpsons, you're like, how did that even get past like people? Like how did people like be like, yeah, air it. To all the millions watching around, we got a hard R in this episode. Like, what? Like, and how have, like, nobody heard this, right? Like, how has, like, nobody heard these episodes? And so, essentially, he kind of gets confused with, like, this word. And so, the worst part of it is, Linus Tech Tips says that he casually dropped the hard R. And so, as bad as that is, like everyone in the company, jokingly was like, okay, it's time to wrap up. Gotta go find a new job, And mind you, like if he said that like back in like 2000, like even, like early 2000s, right? Like it wasn't always uncommon. Like people would say it like, but like even saying it, like in admitting to it and putting a smile on his face. Like he said it with a smile, which is way worse. Like everyone, I would be like, oh, there's no coming back from that. Regardless of anything you do, it's just like, it's rough, a proud racist. That was the persona coming off. And luckily, he does admit, because he does elaborate, because chat's like going wild. They're like, holy smokes. I can't believe he just admitted to it, says it very proudly, and is like, yeah, I did that. I freaking did that. That's like, let's say like Alex Jones, somebody who's like a very, outlandish pundit, regardless of any side. That's like saying like, God damn it, I pushed over that lady in the wheelchair and I was proud of it. Like that, like that's like anyone saying that they like slammed a door on a child and like took their ice cream and was like proud of it. That's like what this was, but like way worse. And so, He is mistaken. He did not say, like, he did say that he casually used it, but what he's referring to is completely opposite of what, like, he meant. And so, as I mentioned, the hard R is the N word, but ending with an ER. That's why it's called a hard R and not just like a casual A, right? And so, he does elaborate and talks about, mentally disabled people, people with like special needs or even like learning development issues, that, what people would refer to as, I'm not going to say it, but the R word. That's what people would refer to as the R word, right? It is still taboo to kind of say, but people do say it. Like, it's still a pretty common thing to say, but when you're saying it about somebody, that's when it's kind of like obviously rude. And so, what is it? Like shows would casually do that. Like, people say that all the time. Like, people in videos say that all the time. And it's still a pretty decently common thing. Like, maybe not as much back then, or as it was back then, but it's so funny because then when he explains it, it's like, oh God, now, okay, I don't have to go find a new job. Like, get me off LinkedIn, not just uninstall the app. Like, I would be panicking if I were anyone that worked in that show. And so so he's with a co-host, and like when he says that, he mentioned that he just would casually drop it, his face just like dropped. He's like, what? And so, yeah, just a really funny, scary, funny, like, clip, all in all. And so, yeah, like, it was a pretty common word. Like, we'd hear it all the time, like, in school and whatnot, but it never really meant anything bad. I think for us, like, we didn't really know what it meant, or that it, like, I remember when I found out that it was, I guess, a word about people, with, mental disabilities or anything regarding, that. And so, yeah, like people like even like a retardant, which is like a flame retardant. Like, you could have a flame retardant, and I don't exactly know. Like, I think the word in itself, like from like, let's say like a Latin root, is from like a slowing down of something. And so for somebody with like, let's say like cognitive delays, like it's a little bit slower for them to even pick up on stuff, or, just things like that. And especially, like, I guess when you kind of think of it, you're always thinking of somebody with like, like Down syndrome, right? And so that's kind of like where it kind of is a little, don't say that, right? And so all in all, very just funny clip. And overall, like, I remember watching Moist Critical's video on it, and I was like, oh God. I'm like, this only gets worse. But like the title says almost ruins his career. So like, it seems like I was thinking he almost like said the N-word, but like it was like it wasn't like that, but this was way worse. And so very heightened scare, but then mellows out. So all in all, that's that. I do want to finish up this podcast. There's a brand new Fortnite season out. I'm actually really excited to play. I know a lot of you guys play games. I know Fortnite was a massive game during the COVID years and the pandemic, but overall, Fortnite's come out with probably one of their best seasons. They have a brand new weapon called the katana, or what they call is the kinetic blade, but it's very similar to a katana. And they have new guns like the pulse rifle. They have new augments, which I really, really like. New locations, which I really like Mega City. They also have a very Asian inspired city, which is actually really cool. I don't exactly know how to pronounce the name. Unfortunately, I haven't learned it, but I love the design. I'm a huge fan of like Eastern Asian architecture. Like, I love the design. Like, that's something that I really like. And hopefully one day I'll get to travel and see it. It's something that I really, really like looking at. Like, I love the big sliding doors that they have. I've always loved it in movies. Any like, it's very common, Jackie Chan, but Bruce Lee movies, more common than Bruce Lee. But any, what's his name? Ip Man. What's his name? Donnie Yen movies, always has kind of that, Asian, architecturally inspired, scenes, which I always loved. So yeah, even like a new battle pass, which looks really cool. My skin is a, oh God, I don't know what what the garb is, but it is an Asian inspired skin. I love it. And there's a brand new one in the battle pass, which I'm going to grind for and I'm going to get. So all in all, really excited about this Fortnite season. We played yesterday on stream as of recording this, and oh my God, we got like 4 wins. I have to shout out one of my viewers, Veli. Oh my goodness. This guy dropped 36 kills in our first match together. So we were playing squads. And Veli's one of these types of players that likes to wander off and just do his own thing. The man got 36 kills by himself. And all of the other 3 of us combined got maybe like 7. So he dropped like 40 plus kills. And yeah, it was wild. So Veli dropped a ridiculous 36 kills. And I'm probably going to turn that to a video. But overall, pretty awesome. I don't know. I just love this bottle of Prime. I have not drank it. It's just here for show. So all in all, I am very excited for this new Fortnite season. I'm going to definitely play a lot more Fortnite throughout the season, which I'm really, really excited about. So Nationers, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of The Realest Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the MrBeast drama, Pokimane drama, Linus Tech Tip's Hard R drama, and the brand new Fortnite season. Again, new single coming out March 16th, a.k.a. It's called Nationers. It's going to be so confusing saying it. But Nationers, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 56 of The Realest Podcast. Banner right behind me. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and leave a review if you guys are listening on audio. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. 07. Peace. Peace.